Atlanta News First Plus starts now.
Thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk on Atlanta News First Plus. I am Maria Moreau. We are following news around the airport at the world's busiest airport, no less, as more than 1,100 flights have been canceled across the country as of this morning, including right here at Hartsfield-Jackson. This comes as the Federal Aviation Administration begins reducing flights due to the federal shutdown. Atlanta News First, Neomani Watson is outside Hartsfield with the latest.
It's important to note officials say it is still safe to fly, but they say the shutdown is causing air traffic controller shortages. Reducing flights will maintain that safety. Flights will be cut by 10% over the next week, starting with 4% today, 5% on Saturday, 6% on Sunday, and will reach 10% by next Friday. Air traffic controllers have already missed one full paycheck despite having to work 6 days a week and 10-hour days because they are deemed essential federal employees. The president of the Airline Pilots Association says the shutdown has added pressure to already stressful jobs. Air traffic controllers manage around 44,000 flights every day. Officials say some controllers have been calling out of work and having to take second jobs due to financial strain and exhaustion.
These people are asked to keep our skies safe and secure, yet they don't know how they're going to put gas in the car, or they're going to worry about how they're going to get groceries in the next one. That's an unprecedented level of risk that's the system. It stresses the system beyond where it should be.
Yesterday, Senator Raphael Warnock said he was co-sponsoring legislation that would pay air traffic controllers and TSA employees during the shutdown. Reporting from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, I'm Neomani Watson, Atlanta News First.
And thank you, Neomani, for that report. Airlines promising extra help and refunds, but the bottom line is it is on you to make a game plan. Atlanta News First, Don Shipman joins us from inside of the world's busiest airport with a look at how ticket counter traffic is doing.
We've been here since 4:30 this morning, and since then we have noticed there's been a lot of people already here at the airport, and lines have been forming off and on at the ticket counters. Now, travel experts will say the first thing you need to know is to get to the airport probably earlier than you normally would, but also you need to know your rights. I want you to take a look at this right here because this is really important information. Airlines must automatically issue a full refund if your flight is canceled or significantly changed. So for domestic flights, it means more than 3 hours and more than 6 hours for an international flight. And for your bags, if you're flying domestically, airlines must deliver your checked bag within 12 hours of arriving or reimburse. A spokesperson for Atlanta-based Delta Airlines said that they expect to operate the vast majority of their flights as scheduled today and this weekend, and like other airlines, will work to minimize customer impacts. Most people that we talked with here, they're well aware of the changes that are taking effect today. One traveler who is already preparing for the worst and has booked multiple flights for today, making sure that he can get back home to St. Louis this weekend.
I got to be at the airport tomorrow, and it's a Friday, and I need to be home. Got 3 soccer games on Saturday I got to get to with my daughter. So, yeah, it's concerning. I'm literally trying to book multiple flights on different airliners just to get home.
It's more important than ever to book that first flight of the day and a direct flight if you can.
And back out here, you can see those lines forming right there at the ticket counter. Travel experts saying to have a backup plan, that's one of the most important things to do. Also, check the app. Delta has their app, all the other airlines do as well. Check that app. That is the best way to communicate with the airline in case there is a delay or even a cancellation. We're here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
And a heartbreaking update for you from the plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky that we first broke to you on Tuesday. Officials last night confirming a 13th person has died in that crash. The Atlanta-based company releasing the names of the crew members killed, and I just want to share that with you here on ANF Plus. Captain Richard Wartenberger, First Officer Lee Truitt, and International Relief Officer Captain Dana Diamond were among the crew, and those tragically lost on Tuesday. Now, UPS says their hearts go out to every employee impacted and the Louisville community. This continues to be just an incredibly sad time for the entire UPS family, they went on to say. And of course, we're still working to piece together exactly what led up to this crash and the surrounding businesses that were impacted, and really the search for many people in that area. Most have been accounted for as of this report this morning, but the investigation very much continues, and we're going to keep you up to date in our free Atlanta News First app. I want to take you around the nation as we continue to follow the latest on SNAP. A federal judge now telling the Trump administration it has to fully fund SNAP benefits by the end of today. The court order directs the USDA to use its contingency fund to make full payments to states. In a hearing yesterday, the judge said the Trump administration did not act fast enough to release those funds, and the Trump administration has appealed the order. The judge also saying in the hearing, quote, "This should never happen in America," going on to say that without the funding, 16 million children are at risk of going hungry. We have yet to hear really the action and whether we will see SNAP fully reinstated today from the Trump administration. We will keep an eye on that as we follow these developments. I want to end on a lighter note here. As we get towards the end of the year, it is an exciting time for all of my word enthusiasts. The UK published Collins Dictionary has released its 2025 Word of the Year. And can you guess what it is based off these videos? It's actually two words. It's vibe coding, which I think my husband would really appreciate. That's the form of computer programming coding that involves using artificial intelligence to turn natural language into computer code. In 2023, the dictionary's word of the year was AI. I feel like there's a trend here. Maybe 2026, we might get into some other tech words. Let me know your guesses for the new year. All right, we got to talk weather because a lot of you, especially those of you on TikTok, can't stop talking about the massive temperature drop that we are looking at for early next week. And we do want to warn you of some first alert weather days that are coming up and the timing of those temperature changes. So I want to bring in first alert meteorologist Isaac Williams with a look at your first alert forecast.
Thanks, Maria. Yeah, I think the TikTok buzz probably has something to do with the word polar vortex, because that's actually the reasoning for this cold that's coming in early next week. A piece of that is breaking off and bringing us some unseasonably cold weather by the first part of next week. It's going to be pretty intense out there. As Maria mentioned, there are two first alert weather days for Monday and Tuesday, so windy and cold weather on Monday, and then just plain cold on Tuesday as those temperatures drop to near record levels. We did some research, and the record low temperature for next Tuesday, the 11th, is 30 degrees, and right now we have in the forecast 29, so we could be seeing record setting cold air for the Tuesday morning of next week. Today, though, partly cloudy with some late day and evening showers. We're going to have highs into the 70s, so it's going to be another warm day out there today. And just as we've been seeing the past few days, those warm afternoons will continue. The difference, though, this time is that we have some rain as well as a chance at some additional cloud coverage as well. So 5 p.m., we have a few spotty showers around, so driving home later today, don't be surprised if you need to use the wipers a few times, but otherwise we're not looking at widespread rain today, I don't think. Anyway, tonight we're going to be watching a little bit better chance of heavier showers and storms across the northern half of the state, mainly north of Metro Atlanta, but some of that could impact the metro overnight into the pre-dawn hours of Saturday. So we're talking about 3 to 6 a.m. when hopefully a lot of you are asleep. So don't be surprised if you go to bed with dry weather and wake up with dry weather, but it may have rained overnight. That's what we're kind of thinking for tonight into tomorrow morning. You may get woken up by a little thunder, but we're not expecting any major severe weather concerns. And then just isolated rain redeveloping Saturday afternoon. And Sunday morning, maybe an early shower around sunrise or so. And then the forecast for Sunday is that we may see some sun and clouds through the day. And then we note Sunday night, some of that blue showing up in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. That could be the first high elevation snow of the season for Tennessee and North Carolina. For the Georgia mountains, anything other than a couple of flakes or flurries, that should be the extent here. The moisture depth for North Georgia is not as great as what it is in Tennessee and North Carolina, but we will continue to watch this. This cold is not necessarily unprecedented, but it is a little bit early in its arrival. And the other model that we're showing here into Monday does show a few more of those flakes in North Georgia. But again, no accumulation expected at this point in Georgia. The best chance is along the Tennessee-North Carolina line. For Monday, the first of 2 first alert weather days, we have 46 degrees for the high temperature with a 30-plus mile-per-hour wind. So it's going to be feeling like the 30s and or below freezing all day on Monday, from the morning to the lunch to the evening drive home into the night. So it's going to be brutally cold Monday with the wind. Tuesday, we do lose the wind a little bit, but we start in the upper 20s, and we do stay in the 50s for highs despite the sunshine. But the good news is that because this is a sort of a progressive pattern, things don't linger for too long. So we're going to see a quick warm-up by Wednesday and Thursday. Maybe some frost Wednesday, yes, but highs should be back in the mid-60s, and then we could be pushing 70 by Thursday. So from 76 to 29, back to maybe 70. We're going to have a huge temperature roller coaster over the next 7 days. Thankfully, though, without major rain chances, we're seeing already a little cloud coverage out there in Atlanta. We had some low clouds and fog earlier. That has since cleared, but the clouds have sort of lifted up a little bit. Temperatures are in the mid-60s, so we're on schedule for another pretty warm day. We're watching some showers in Alabama west of Montgomery. Those would be the ones that would impact portions of the afternoon commute later today around rush hour from 3 to 6 p.m. Again, 20 to 30% chances for rain. That cold front northwest of Memphis, that is the driving force of all of this and is what is going to bring us that major cold early next week. In terms of severe weather, the best chance of severe storms today is in Tennessee and southern Kentucky. There is a level 1 marginal risk across northwest and west Georgia. Again, a rogue stronger storm is not out of the question. It is not likely to happen and should be relatively unexpected to happen, but something that we will watch. This is one of the strongest fronts that we've had this year, and there's a little bit of moisture to work with, so we'll watch it closely just in case things change. But we do expect a better chance tonight. You can see that 60% chance of overnight rain and some brief thunder in the mix. Other than that, we're looking at spotty rain through the rest of the weekend with temperatures falling quickly Sunday. We're waking up Monday morning to sub-freezing wind chills with highs only in the 40s, and then we're looking at sunshine and a fairly quick thaw by the middle of next week as highs return to the middle and upper 60s. We'll continue to keep you posted here on ANF Plus, inside the First Alert Weather app, and on Atlanta News First on air throughout the rest of the day.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.